I don't know why, but something is very much compelling me to touch on this subject, and this is a subject that I generally do not touch on simply because I am not a trained professional. I'm not claiming to be a trained professional. The only words that I can possibly give are from just myself and personal experience, but I do highly recommend seeking professional help if you or someone you know and love is going through something like this, because my words are simply just my own words, and I'm not going to claim by any means that this is what works or anything like that. This is just what works for me. But everybody's story is different. I understand that and I respect that, so these are simply my words. I'm not saying that this is perfect for your life, but I do want to get it out there because I do hope that in some way it will either help or at least get a start to help. I'm in my 20s, and for a very long time, since I was a teenager, I've witnessed just how prevalent self-harm is to this time frame. Like, it's either you or someone you know is doing it. There just seems to be an almost numbness to the idea that self-harm is common. And as hard and as sad as it is to say, in my short amount of life, I have actually witnessed prevalent numbers of people self-harming, but also people taking it a step further than just that. And it would be horribly selfish and wrong to say that they were wrong, or that they should have chosen something different, because I'm not them. And personally, I've not been in exactly their place, but been to that point in thoughts and life. I never thought that I would be where I am today. Had you told me at the age of 8 that I would be in my 20s, I would probably have laughed at you, or called you a liar. Or, actually knowing my 8-year-old self, probably would have just asked why, and started to cry. And I don't know how to answer my own 8-year-old self. If my 8-year-old self were to come up to me and ask me why, or what motivated me, what kept me alive, I don't actually know the perfect words that I would tell them. Has life been easy? Not a bit. Has life been fair? Not a damn bit. Has it been worth it? I guess that depends on your idea of worth. I know for me, I think what keeps me going is the fact that change always happens when you least expect it, and happens in ways that you least expect it. Had you told me even a few years ago that I would be living on my own with an amazing girlfriend, with pets that I absolutely adore, cosplaying where tons of people watch, like more than just my friends watch, I would have told you you were just simply stating false fantasy dreams that can't be real. Because where I was at even a few years ago was probably the lowest that I think that I have ever been, and probably, hopefully, will ever be. A few years ago, I don't even know how I made it through. There was nothing to hold through for. I can't even tell you what really kept me going, other than I went to sleep and somehow woke up. In those years, I was shown just how unfair life was, just how unjust the world can be, how painful and how lonely. and how just damn sad life could be. I sought professional help, I sought all sorts of help, and nothing really made it better. It made me stronger. It made me feel that I could at least carry on because, well, I could carry on. I was stronger. It didn't really make me less depressed. I was still depressed. But depression is all I've ever known in life. Being born with depression and never knowing what it's like to not have it, even in childhood, which is when I feel everybody in their whole life should feel joy and nothing but joy, and hold on and cherish their innocence. Yes, my childhood was innocent, but despite it all, my depression won. But then, just not that long ago, yeah, I was shown just how much crueler the world could be than I think I could have even initially thought. But then life changed in such a drastic, wonderful way, in a way that I had never ever seen for my own life. And a lot of it came from me just changing my own points of views. I was very stubborn in my beliefs. I was very stubborn in this is how the world works, just because I think that's how the world works. I was stubborn enough to believe that, well, this is how my life's always going to be, and I can't see any difference. I don't want to see any difference, because the idea of being happy makes me sick. Because it would feel like all my hurt was in vain if one day I just started smiling and being happy. That all the traumas that I had gone through would just now mean absolutely nothing. Because, well, at least you're happy now. And that's depression talking a whole lot. That's how depression works. It makes you feel addicted to it. It makes you feel like that is the only worth that you have, is it. And I started taking a lot of notes in my own personal self on how I started reacting to things. Can I ever get rid of my depression? No. Have I been on antidepressant pills? Yes, too many to count. Is depression going away? No. Can I learn how to live with it? I'm trying. I've made it this far, living with it, and I'm hoping to live with it longer. And learning just how to live with it. Has it been easy? No. Am I proud of myself for at least making it as far as I have today? Yes. A part of me wants to say no, and that's the depression. Depression wants me to say, no, I'm not proud that I made it this far. I can't believe I woke up today. But there's a part of me past my depression. And it's seeking out the changes. When I was a kid, I was told very bluntly that people never change, and nothing's going to change. And that really sucked, because I was a teenager when I was told that, and I was not in an at all healthy mind frame, and I wasn't doing healthy things to myself. And so to be told that people never change, that fucking sucked. Because I felt like I could change. I just didn't have the opportunities laid out for me just then to change. But I felt like if things were to happen and opportunities were to arise, that maybe, at least I hoped, I had hope in my back pocket, maybe I would be able to change. Roll around to now I'm in my 20s, and by God, I am not at all the same person that I was when I was a teenager. I don't even half the time recognize that sorry-ass kid. I don't. I don't remember what it's like to be in that mind frame. Even though that was so comfortable for me to be in that mind frame. It was so easy to be in that mind frame. I've listened to songs now that I used to be addicted to back in those days, and I don't even understand how I could have possibly gotten to the point where that song related to me as well as it sure did. Like, it meant so much to me, and I held on to it because I felt like it was speaking my soul out. And now I listen to it, and I don't know how I can get to that point. I don't know how I ever felt that way. I know what happened to me. I know what got me to that mind frame. But could I ever get back to that? No. I don't think I could ever make my way back there, even though I am still hurting from the past. Those things will never not hurt me. What happened to me will have always happened to me, and have left the world's biggest imprint on my life. Those most horrific moments shaped the person that you see today. But I can't get to the point where all I do is sit in that feeling. I've overcome so much. And I'm proud of myself for overcoming so much, because I don't want to still be in my 20s sitting depressed and feeling constantly hurt and victimized. That's not all the type of person that I want to be. That wasn't the person that I wanted to be whenever things happened. From the day it happened, I was like, no, fuck this. I want to be a survivor. It hurt like fucking hell, and I was depressed as shit, and I felt absolutely worthless, but I didn't ever want to play the victim card. I wanted to be stronger than that. And I can look at my teenage self and go, you were stronger than that. You somehow made it through. Some days I don't have a clue how, but you made it through. And I think that's because things are always changing in such extreme, weird, slow ways. The thing that weirds me out is the fact that they happened so slow. It felt like a crawl, and yet I look at the dates on the calendar, and it hasn't been that much time. I never actually thought that I would get to be the person that I am today. I finally have the confidence to say that I am becoming the person I always wanted to be. When I was a kid, I had consistent dreams and consistent desires to become the person that I am growing myself now to finally be. I never thought it would happen. I thought death would be easier than never becoming the person that I wanted to be. I don't know where you're at in life. I truly can't say that I understand anything about you, but I want you to know, if I can tell you one thing for you, there is change for you, and it is change for the better. There may be very, very, very horrific, hard times that you have to get through before that good change can happen, but I made it, and I'm not a strong person at all. I am a horribly, horribly weak person, and I know you probably feel weak too, but I've seen, thankfully, through all the horrific things that I've been through, that change does occur. I'm not stuck. Thank God, I am not stuck. And I don't feel you'll always be stuck. I know right now it feels like this is the inevitable, and this is where you were at for good. But what I did was I had to change my mind, which is probably the hardest thing you can possibly change, is your own mind. But I had to change my mind, my way of thinking, my way of dealing with things, and actually allow good change to come, or force good things to come to me. I had to get myself out of situations that at the time seemed like I was in the wrong, for trying to take myself out of those situations. Getting rid of toxic people who didn't believe they were toxic people, and maybe personally, now I admit, I didn't back then think that they were that toxic. I had to change my life. I had to get myself to a better place, because nobody was going to do it for me. At first, as a young teenager, I was hoping maybe somebody would hear my screams and rescue me. People heard my screams, alright, but they sure as hell couldn't rescue me. And most weren't even willing to. And many who said they were willing to, and maybe with all the best intentions wanted to, it wasn't possible. I had to save myself. It's not easy. It fucking sucks. It doesn't feel worth it. But you get past that point after maybe days, maybe weeks, months, years. Once you're out of it though, it feels worth it. It feels like you actually accomplished something. For better or worse, you actually feel an accomplishment. At least that is how it was for me. I'm never going to say I understand you. And your life is your own. But I do want to tell you that from my darkest horrible times of feeling lonely and feeling like I'm late to my own suicide, I do believe change is there, and I do believe there is so much strength in your weakest of moments. We don't know what the future holds, but I do know that there are always sunrises. And there are many times where I absolutely 110% wish that there are a few very special people that I had in my life that I wish had at least seen one more sunrise. So I want to wish that for you.